Following the collapse of Nazi Germany in 1945, numerous German soldiers were taken prisoners of war. Those who served alongside the Germans from various countries around Europe were also taken into captivity. The POWs taken by the Russians were to be treated particularly brutally and would remain incarcerated for many years after war's end. In this video, we look at the story of the last POW of World War II, who was only released from custody in the year 2000. András Toma was born in a small town in Hungary in 1925. He had a rough upbringing, where his mother died when he was around 4 years of age. Fast forward to 1940s Europe, and with war ravaging numerous countries, Germany began to draft men into its armed forces from conquered countries. This would cause Toma to be drafted to assist in the war effort on the Eastern Front against the Russian forces. His service would begin in 1944, however, it would be short-lived as by 1945 he had been captured by the Russians at the age of 19. Initially, he was taken to a prisoner of war camp somewhere east of Leningrad in Russia, and his name being mislabeled as András Tomas. While in captivity, he struggled as he didn't speak German or Russian, so he wasn't able to communicate with either his fellow prisoners or his captors. What Toma did speak was Hungarian. However, it was an older version of the language, and Hungarian is renowned for being unlike any other language in Europe. So, essentially, Toma was stuck in a camp with the inability to communicate with anyone around him. Sometime in 1947, the camp was closed, and Toma was transferred to a mental hospital. Speculation surrounding this points towards his language difficulties, and perhaps Russian authorities of the belief that he was talking gibberish and therefore suffering from some form of psychiatric illness. Nonetheless, he was not able to adequately learn enough Russian to convey his message, and once placed in the mental hospital, he would stay there for a long time. As years passed, Russian authorities would slowly release their prisoners of war from captivity. Thousands of German soldiers would die in labour camps and prisons throughout the years, as well as soldiers from many other countries. Unfortunately for Toma, the hospital system was not aligned with the prison system, and his name became lost. In 1954, the last mass return of prisoners from Russia to their home countries took place, with Russian authorities indicating that no more World War II POWs were under their control. It is at this point that Hungarian authorities declared Toma as being deceased. In the year 2000, a Slovakian linguist was contacted by the Russians to attempt to determine Toma's language. Once the linguist arrived, it was determined he was speaking Hungarian, and his story began to unravel. He was deemed to be of sound mind and released from the hospital. He then returned to his hometown in Hungary and was reunited with his brother and sister. At first, his family were naturally skeptical of his story, but following a DNA test, it was confirmed he was indeed who he claimed to be. Toma would go on to live out the rest of his days back in his home country. Hungarian authorities recognised his pain and suffering from the 55 years he had remained in captivity and paid him back his wages for all 55 years. He would eventually pass away in 2004, having spent almost his whole life in a Russian psychiatric hospital through no fault of his own. What did you think of András Toma's life of incarceration? Do you think the Russian authorities could have done more to help him? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section down below. As always guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you want to expand your knowledge and join the growing Premier History community.